Freestyle Travel. Hey everybody, this is the Freestyle Travel Show. I'm your host, Kenny Flannery, and this episode I'm going to be digging into my book. I just published a book, first book ever. Obviously done a ton of writing over the years. Those of you who followed uberhobolifestyle.com, blogged a lot about all my journeys and whatnot, but this is the first proper published book now available on Amazon. It's called A Six-Pack of Hitchhiking Stories, and I'm super excited about it. It's been 24 hours since it's been live. The ebook went up first, and then the paperback was short behind it. Yeah, both available now. It's pretty cool. It's selling well. It's doing great. There's a lot to talk about. I'm excited. I got a beer right now. I'm drinking 9 Lives from Blue Note. I'm staying at Aaron's place. Last episode, I talked to his wife, Jess. I'm dog sitting / cat sitting here outside of Sacramento. And was able to finish up the book here and get it published. Freaking exciting. So, I'm going to talk about the book itself. I'm not going to throw any spoilers out there, but it's called A Six-Pack of Hitchhiking Stories because it is 6 independent stories. I mean, they kind of flow together because it's all my stories. But yeah, they're basically independent stories, each one involving beer and hitchhiking. Go figure. 2 things that I love to do. Drink beer, hitchhike. So it kind of made sense. I will get into some of the stories themselves, like I said, without the spoilers, but also some of the things that I plan to do around it, like a brewery book tour. I'm super excited. Like I said, it's doing well from the metrics that I can see. Freaking awesome. So go check that out on Amazon. Usually I throw in some like Google Fi pseudo ad right here, but y'all know what that is. Go get the book and review it. That's the main thing. I'll get into that too, but I think the reviews on Amazon make things like skyrocket. So if you've already read the book or if you're going to get it, leaving a review on Amazon is absolutely huge. Just like this podcast. Leave a review for this podcast if you want to. But for the book, even more so, because that's what I'm excited about at the moment. And I am fickle like that. So let me play that little music, and then we'll jump into a 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. All right, like I said, this book is doing well so far. From what I can tell, Amazon's actual metrics, statistics, sales numbers are delayed at best, so I can't really see, but what I can see is already in some of Amazon's bestseller lists, which is amazing. I did not expect that at all. So I know it's doing well already. For example, in the adventure travel category for books, I'm in the top 100 already. At least for a little bit, and maybe still, I eclipsed that book Wild, which was a movie with Reese Witherspoon. I'm beating that. Crazy. Also in the category of beer. Last I checked, I was number 16 globally in the category of beer books. I'm number 16. Freaking awesome. Somehow above or just below Cat in the Hat Comes Back. I don't know who categorized that book as a beer book. That was the only one in the 15 above me that seemed a little out of place. Can't believe I'm losing to a cat wearing a goddamn hat, but this is the internet, so I will deal with it. I'm glad to be in the same breath as the Cat in the Hat. Let's put it that way. It's pretty sweet. So it's, going really well. I got a proof of the paperback just a couple days ago. It came in. It just got mailed here so I could check that the printing was okay and all the pages turned out great. And I was like, thumbs up. And that was it. Hit the publish button and there's a little bit of a delay. And as some of you know, it's good to go. So yeah, like I said before, the reviews are huge. So if you've already read it, please leave a review because I think that'll make it even bigger. It's kind of exciting just to see it going well and people excited to get it, and the people who've read it already are digging it. So I'm really like, it's it's pretty cool. I'm also planning on doing a brewery book tour. So if you know a brewery in your town that's kind of book friendly or would be down for that, let me know. I'll stop in. I'm in California right now. Obviously, I mentioned that. I'm around Sacramento. I'll be heading down to San Diego here in the next couple weeks with some detours, of course. I think Chico's going to be in the mix, probably a little bit of Bay Area stuff, and be heading to New Orleans from San Diego. So in the immediacy, if you want to email freestyletravelshow@gmail.com, and if you know a good brewery or even a bookstore, I'll go to a bookstore, do a little book tour action. Should be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited for that. Just go to breweries, drink beer, tell people about the book, maybe sell a couple copies. That'll be fun as hell. A little background on the book before I get into the actual content of it. This is an idea I've had for a while. I was starting to write sort of a mega book. Something that was going to end up being 400 or 500 pages, just like a huge book about all my travels in general, sort of structured in a unique way. And it's a big undertaking. And a friend suggested that I maybe start something a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. It's like, all right. So this idea came about, a 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. And yeah, I started going through all the stories that I have from the road and trying to pick 6 of them that flowed together, and started putting them together. And I think one of the bigger pushes I made was in South Africa. I was there earlier this year. That was sort of the whole purpose. I was cat sitting there as well, and really made a lot of progress down there. The sort of roommate JC down there, having a lot of fun too, and got a lot done. And then I came here to Sacramento and again pet sitting for friends and finished it. Just knocked it out. So that's why it's up now. So that's where I've done the bulk of the writing, was there and here. And just chipping away at it bit by bit. And it's done. It feels really good to just let it go. Because, I think I could have kept going back through it and polishing things up. But as my mom said, my mom, Julie Butler, edited the book for me. And I think this is advice a lot of people get, is just like, you just gotta put it out there. You can't just keep on chipping away, or else you'll be doing it forever. Perfectionist crap. But it turned out good. On my last reading of it, I just fixed a few things, and I was like, all right, this is good to go. So that's that. Let's get into the book itself. For those of y'all thinking about getting it, I was behind the scenes. I don't want to spoil anything. It's not like crazy. It's not like this book is Breaking Bad or something. There's not some crazy ass ending. It's just a bunch of carefree, good, fun stories about beer and hitchhiking. So there's no huge twists or anything, but it's enjoyable. 6 stories. I'll just briefly outline these 6 stories. If you're thinking about reading it, or maybe you already have read it, maybe I'll tell you a thing or two something else about it. So the first story is about me. Tour de Laramie is the meat of this story. So I was in Utah, and I met a bunch of people around Salt Lake City, just like a whole kind of community of really cool people that I'm still friends with today, a lot of them. And yeah, one friend was telling me about going to Denver. He was going to Denver for a soccer game. And a couple friends were telling me about this Tour de Laramie in Wyoming. So I'm like, all right, maybe I can do both these things. I can hitchhike out of Salt Lake. So that's what the story's about. It's about hitchhiking out of Salt Lake and going to this Tour de Laramie, which is a bicycle bar crawl. So it just outlines the story of this bicycle bar crawl and the madness that ensues there. Drinking a lot of beers. There's a point in the story where I pull a cop over and then wake up a little hazed, not knowing what's going on, and somehow wind up going to a ton of Colorado breweries and a soccer game. And the story winds up with me in the trunk of a car. There's that cat. You can hear that cat. Probably just wants food or something. Whoa. I'm a good pet sitter. So, yeah, it winds up with me in the trunk of some car. You know, the back. It's an SUV. I'm not like fully in the trunk of a sedan or something. I can still see everyone else in the car. But I had no idea where I'm going. Don't want to give too much away in that story. It was a fun time, though. It was a good time. That's kind of the first story. The second story is focused on Germany. I kind of troll Germany a little bit. Kind of see my opinion on German beer. That comes out. I'll let you read the book to see how I rate German beers amongst all the real beer countries in the world. But yeah, that winds up with me getting a ride from these three girls. That winds me up at a party, and just madness ensues and confusion. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. That's why I'm just giving you an outline here. Third story. That's about me in Belgium. This one's, pretty simple. I'm just going to hitchhike to a monastery, to an abbey where the monastery's at, to drink the supposed best beer in the world. So that's what that story's about. Hitchhiking there. And the shenanigans before and after. It's kind of highlighting some good Belgian beers. The fourth story, these stories to me, they kind of get better and better, actually. Is because it's also linear, which I didn't do totally on purpose, but the stories do go in order. So like that first story is from when I was kind of first traveling, and I'll get to the last story, which is a little bit more recent. But this fourth story is being in Washington State and, having nobody knows where I am, nobody knows what I'm doing. Just totally open schedule. I got no like distant plans or recent plans, just kind of super making it up as I go along and just sort of deciding to go to this random little town in the mountains that I picked on a map. It's called Leavenworth, Washington. Really just looked at a map and satellite view, and I was like, this place is in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by wilderness. I'm going to go there. And then a lot starts happening. All of a sudden, I get offered a weird odd job. Not a weird odd job, but a random odd job. There's a keg scavenger hunt involved. It's a pretty fun one. I like that story. You'll have to read that one too. And then chapter 5, as some of you who know me know that I went to Sierra Nevada's beer camp. So this, to me, is like the epitome of the book, this chapter. And it's one of the longer chapters in the book, if not, it might be the longest. But it involves not only the process of finding out about beer camp and going there in Chico, California, where Sierra Nevada is, but also all the aftermath after beer camp itself was over, because we got to brew a beer on their system, and then I hitchhiked thousands of miles to go and meet as many of my fellow beer campers as possible. Now this cat that's been ignoring me for 2 weeks is on the table sniffing my microphone. I hate you, Gracie. Everything about you. Now you're going through all my stuff? This is what's happening? Trust you at all. Alright, well, here's this cat. I'll take a sip of beer while I'm watching this cat. Just winked at me? I don't trust this cat at all. And I'm entrusted to feed it. Yeah, I know. Alright, made me lose track of my story. Beer camp. So yeah, the beer camp one is a good one. That has me going hitchhiking all the way down and back up California, Oregon, up to Washington. And then the final chapter, which is also arguably one of the better ones, is Ireland. When I went to every Flannery pub, obviously my last name Flannery, went to every Flannery bar in Ireland, and sort of accidentally wound up on the radio and the newspaper. It became a national story to the point where I was hitchhiking and people had heard me. They'd heard my thing on the radio, and they're like, a dude from the radio. It was freaking awesome. It was one of the cooler things that's happened to me. So I'm glad I actually got it captured in a book. It was really fun. Like the whole time I was in Ireland, just going to all these Flannery bars, and someone heard me from the radio, and just tons of free pints of Guinness and friendly people and legit people that might be distant cousins or some other kind of relative. Like crazy fun. So that story is great because I get into all the bars I went to, but also a bunch of other adventures that I got involved in while in Ireland. In between going to all these Flannery bars, it was pretty fun. So in a nutshell, that is the book. Like I said, I don't want to say too much about any of the chapters because it's a fun read. It's not too long either. It's less than a couple hundred pages. It's closer to 100, so it's not a long read at all. But just kind of just fun stories. Lots of beer. I'm gonna take another sip of this beer. This 9 Lives. I've been drinking on this keg for like 2 weeks now. My friends are getting back tomorrow. So, yeah, that's the story of a 6-pack of Hitchhiking stories. Like I said, I'm excited because it's the first book. And this whole brewery book tour thing I'm thinking of doing is pretty exciting. I started reaching out to some breweries so far. I was waiting until the book actually got published, so I've only been doing that in the last 24 hours. But let me jump to the outro here, and then I'll sort of ask you guys if you know some things too. Alright, here we go. Alright, so that's a 6-pack of Hitchhiking stories. Like I said, available on Amazon. Just go on Amazon and search for 6-pack of Hitchhiking stories. You'll find it. Paperback and ebook. But back to that brewery tour. freestyletravelshow@gmail.com is the email address that you can email. And if you guys know any breweries or bookstores or just towns along the way that you think would be down for this, let me know. Send me a message. I already posted something on Reddit in the beer Reddit, and I've gotten a ton of responses from people from all over the country about, like, for example, around Indianapolis, there's a Books and Brews sort of chain. In Colorado, I think in Denver, there's Fiction Brewery. I don't know, there's a lot of sort of beer, or I should say book-focused breweries. And I think any brewery would work, but if you know a brewery or bookstore in your town, that would be down for me coming in, just kind of doing this book tour thing. I said this is my first book, so I'm just kind of making it up, but I guess the idea is that I would come in and sit down for half an hour, and just sort of do a little bit of what I just did now, talk about the process of how I wrote the book, what the book's about, answer some questions, hopefully sell some copies of the book, and the good thing is, if it's in a brewery, I'm drinking beer. So it's basically what I'd be doing anyways, just drinking beer, having a good time. So let me know. My trajectory, usually I tell you about my post travels, but since the last episode, I've just been here writing and finishing that book. But my travel's coming up. For sure, I'm getting down to San Diego. The way I get down there, I'm not sure. So if you listen to the last episode, you know that I have a friend who's moving to New Orleans from San Diego and is having me drive her car from San Diego to New Orleans. And I can get down there basically when I want and take however long I want, and probably stop in a bunch of places along the way. So if you know places along the way there, if you live along the way, give me a shout. I'll stop. I'll have a freaking car. Free gas money. So more or less, as long as I go somewhat direct. Let me know. If you just want to hang out, if you know a bookstore, if you know a brewery, I will be there. So, and I don't know how quickly I'm going to get there. From here, I will most likely go to Chico, because Chico is awesome. Guessing the Bay Area too. Might stop in Bakersfield. I don't know if I'll go farther north than Chico before getting to San Diego, but yeah, that's kind of my route. It's not totally sure, but yeah, eventually I'm gonna wind up in New Orleans sometime. Yeah, like I said, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do between here and San Diego or how long I'll spend, but Once I go to San Diego, I'll just be gunning it to New Orleans. Not gunning it. I'll probably stop a bunch of places along the way. Albuquerque, for sure. Probably Phoenix. Yeah, a bunch of spots. I don't know. It's rare that I have a car. It's super rare I get to drive. There was one time I drove with my sister. After I've been like hitchhiking for years, I was tasked to join my sister, who's 8 years younger, to drive her car out from Connecticut to Los Angeles, Hollywood, where she was going to school. Kind of join her in that trip. And I was like, wow, I've been hitchhiking so much, I'm actually going to drive across the country the whole way. Sure enough, in Kansas, we picked up a couple of her friends. Kansas, one of her friends was driving, ran out of gas, so I had to hitchhike anyways. Some bullshit, man. I thought I was driving the whole way. Or at least, being driven, not hitchhiking the whole way. And then sure enough, middle of Kansas, not even on the interstate, some little diagonal road getting down right to the Colorado border. Colorful Colorado, that sign. She runs out of gas. Middle of a cornfield. So I was obviously the one. Me and these 3 college girls. Obviously, I'm the one to get out, hitchhike. Got super lucky. The first person to pass stopped right away. That's awesome. Not only that, the next gas station was 35 miles away. That's how far we were from anything. And he was going there to pick up a part for like a tractor and come back. Ultimate ride. What a break. First ride is going there and coming back. So I got to go to the gas station, get a gas jug, fill it up, come back, give us enough gas to get back there. It's perfect. But yeah, anyways, like I said, besides that, this will be a pretty good driving experience having this car. So, and it's big enough to sleep in too. So anyways, yeah, just give me a shout about that. That's it. 6-pack of hitchhiking stories. Amazon, check it out. Let's rise up these charts. See if I can get to be like number 1 in adventure travel or beer. I think those are my main 2 categories. It's crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. Pretty fun. And yeah, give me a shout about breweries. Give me a shout if you know someone else with a podcast who wants to maybe talk to me, feature it. If you know some news outlets, some radio junk, I don't know. I know how to write. I don't necessarily know how to promote myself, so I'm all ears. All ears. All right, you guys. Freaking good times. And I will see you down the road. With all my shit straight, I'll get my big break.